Welcome to the Q&A for day one. We got David, Alejandro, Alex, Andrew, Angel, Angie. How about this? Why don't we put Q&A, because there's a lot of people here. I'll give you all a shout out in a second. Why don't we just raise our hands with questions or hit the Q&A button and just type out your question, and then I'll get to them in the order I received them, and we'll stay as long as we need to. We'll rock on questions. How's that sound, guys? So if you have a question, let's rock and roll. Thank you, Alex. Appreciate that. All right. We'll answer these questions live. So here's what I'll do. I'll just bring Alex live and we'll talk. Hey, Alex, can you hear me? You got
Hey, what's going on, Brad?
Hey, Alex, what's going on, brother? Thanks for being here.
Yeah, I am excited to be here, man. Great first day of training.
Thank you. Thank you. I wanted to keep it easy and simple, make sure everybody got a win under their belt, and then we'll rock and roll tomorrow and the next day and the day after that.
I love it. I love it. My question, I was writing down a joint venture. I really feel strongly to create a joint venture mastermind to leverage both my audience and my joint venture partner. And here's my question, Brad. You've done a lot. I can see from your photos and examples, you've done a lot of joint venture masterminds. When you're setting up a joint venture, what are your personal qualifications to determine who to partner with? I know you probably get approached all the time for people who want to do a joint venture mastermind with you. What are the qualifications that you look for in deciding whether or not to take action?
That's a great question, Alex. And I would say the very first thing is values. Are our values aligned? What are the things that we're really trying to move forward the needle on in our lives? What do we care about the most? Because again, no judgment, but if you're not aligned, it's going to be a lot of aggravation for both parties, right? If somebody is, very motivated by money and success and the trappings of success, that's one type of person. And I'm more like, well, yeah, money's great, but it's kind of like, I want to help a lot of people and have a lot of fun first in my life. And I'll usually choose those two things over making a lot of money. If I wanted to make a lot of money, I would stay in the hedge fund world. I would have kept running my hedge fund. I would have worked more in real estate, and I probably will go back to those things. But at the stage of my life I'm in now, it's like I've already been pretty successful. I've already helped a lot of people, and I get more out of the juice of helping people than from the other. And then I guess from an expertise standpoint, like what are they the best in the world at? And are they the best person to work with on that specific thing, right? You don't have to be the expert, but that doesn't mean you should partner with anybody who's just like, yeah, I know some stuff. Like really find the best, right? Who's the best in the world that you can get access to, who will come and speak to your people or partner with you for that mastermind. So I think those are really the two big things. And then the other things are just kind of minor logistical details. Like, can we make this work? Can we agree on a deal that makes sense for both of us? And so forth. Does that answer your question?
It does. It does. Could I ask a follow-up question to that?
Sure, please.
So you mentioned finding someone who's the expert. And you used in your examples a guy who was in the corporate world who was getting out of the corporate world to help people start coaching.
That's right.
And I may be botching his story, but my guess is that that individual did not have a large list of people.
That's correct.
And so if someone like him approached you, he's an expert, but he doesn't have a large list. What is do you make a different type of deal with him than you would, if someone approached you, like our mutual friend Jay approached you, he's got a large list, you have a large list.
Yeah.
Do you structure the deal differently? Do you just have
such
like
a great question, Alex? So, yeah, I would try to I would start out with a very simple, like, hey, I feel I'm worth this, and I feel like what you can bring to the table is worth this, and kind of bat that around. If it gets really down to the nitty gritty details and we need to really hammer out a deal, you could consider it like, okay, we're going to pay this much for a lead percentage wise. We're going to pay this much for a sale percentage wise. We're going to pay this much if you had the lead beforehand. You could kind of break each piece down to the nitty gritty details, although that can get a little bit crazy. So a typical deal is anywhere from 50-50 to 70-30. I wouldn't dip below that 30% because it's just probably not worth it at that point. Unless it's some crazy opportunity where you're basically, it's a layup. Like I'm getting to work with Tony Robbins, I'll take 10%. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Something like that. That's going to launch your career after that. And it's okay to forego making a lot of money in the beginning in order to really get those off the ground. But again, that's the more rare case. I would say the more consistent case is, we're going to be 50-50 partners. We're going to split our resources. We're going to split our effort. And we're expecting that, it's going to be a 50-50 split. And you just do a one-off. You don't have to make it like, we're going to get in bed and get married for 2 years and, run masterminds forever. You do a one-off mastermind. If everybody's happy, you do more of them. All right.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you, Brad.
Absolutely. Thanks, Alex. Thanks for being here. Okay. Next up, we have got David. David says, is there a software to help us manage the groups, details, etc.? Yes and no. You can jump on live if you like, David. I'll let you answer live. I just got to find you here. 1 second. Hi, David. Can you hear me?
Hey, Brad. How are you? Nice to meet you.
Nice
Thanks
to
for
meet
taking
you.
me on.
My pleasure. Yeah, absolutely. So as far as software, Dean and Tony actually built a software for mastermind.com that was okay. Like, the thing I liked about it most was the agenda feature, where you could kind of drag and drop different pieces of the agenda. They spent like $500,000 on that thing. I don't think they got their money's worth. I'm just going to be real with you.
Right.
Because the other pieces, just like ClickFunnels, could do most of it way better. So as far as building the pages and stuff, it was simple. It was relatively easy to use, but it didn't have a lot of features and functionality. So it wasn't really useful for me. That one piece I loved was the agenda builder. As far as the technology we use, it's Zoom, it's Facebook groups, it's Active Campaign, it's things like that. And I can get you links to anything specifically. It just depends on how complex what you're trying to build is and what you need to do it. But most people can get a mastermind started with a few tools like Facebook or LinkedIn, Calendly, which is like a calendar software, or Q schedule once, and Zoom, I think would be plenty to start with.
Yeah, like in my particular case, I'm in the corporate world leading a company. And when I started going to entrepreneurship, like you said, it's less about money. It's more about the impact and how do you help people. And the question for me was, okay, it's not so much because really the how is very technical and operational, but in an instance like for myself, how do I make technology work for me while I'm working full time to fill up and manage those groups so that you can kind of do both at the same time, like you said, kind of scale up. So that was really where the heart of my question was, is how do you automate, quote unquote, as much as you can so that you can, fill these groups up and manage people properly. And, I'm a big believer in tools, templates, and
Sure.
frameworks, and they work 9 times out of 10 with a bit of added humanity to it. So that's kind of where my heart was coming from. It's like, okay, this makes a lot of sense. So
yeah, I agree. And the cool thing about masterminds is they're not technically complex. You can run them very easily.
right,
However, when you get to the stage I'm at, where you have tens of thousands of people that you're marketing to every day and all that stuff, it's a lot of tech, and I have a whole support team to do that. But you don't have to worry about that yet. You just build it as you need it. And the most important thing is your offer. If you can have your offer dialed in and have some money coming in, really, like, you're meeting the market need. I wouldn't even focus on any of that stuff yet until you're there, because I've met so many people, myself included, who spent way too much money to have no business. You know what I mean? Like, I spent $45,000 on my first course launch and it was a dud. And then I did it again, screwed it up. But I'm going to teach you how not to do that and not to fail, because the most important thing is getting the offer right, and just continue to work on making it more valuable and getting people in the door to pay you money. Really, that's it to start.
I guess as they always say is the acronym KISS, right?
Yep.
Keep it
It's
simple. Yeah, and we won't say the fourth way.
Sweetheart. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Thanks,
All right,
Brad.
David. You feel good?
Thanks.
Cool,
Yeah, I
brother.
feel good. I got your book. I talked to John. Loving everything. So keep
Awesome, man.
rocking.
Yeah,
Thank you
great
so
to have you.
much.
Thanks for joining the challenge. All
Yep.
right.
Cheers.
Matthew, can you put the pyramid slide back up? I missed the top 2. Sure thing. Put the pyramid slide back up. Let me just find it for you. Okay, escape. Let's go to pyramid slide. Bam. Share my screen. There it is. The top 2 were impact and profit and success. Impact and profit and success. There you go. Hope that helps. If you have any follow-up questions, just hit me back. Okay, Lisa. Great session, Brad. I'm stuck in between 1 and 2. Got a big network on LinkedIn, but no formal email list. Help. So any technology, any way that you contact humans, whether it be LinkedIn, email, carrier pigeons, smoke signals, Pony Express, however you get in touch with people, phone, whatever it is, right? Those are lists, right? The fact that you don't have an email list is kind of irrelevant. Do you have people in your life who know, like, and trust you enough to have a conversation about potentially being in the mastermind? That's the most important thing. And wherever that exists, that's fine. Email lists are great. And like, there's certainly a lot of benefits to having an email list, but we don't just market on email. We market on text. We market on phone calls. We market on social. We market on ads. We market on all the different things, because email is just one way to reach out to people. So I wouldn't stress too much about not having a formal email list. And if you're stuck between 1 and 2 and you're like, it's because I don't have a list. Well, do you have 50 people 100 people maybe, that if you went through your phone and all your socials and just made a list of people who know, like, and trust you that are in, you know, somewhere around this niche you're going to create, somewhere around this offer, or at least you could have conversations with, there's probably 5 to 10 clients in your network already. And that's where I tell people to start. Don't get too complex. Don't try to run before you can crawl, walk, and jog, and you'll be fine. But I can answer you live as well if you want to jump on. So let's have you, sorry, I went out of order there. Lisa, can you hear me?
Certainly can. Hello.
Hi. You're in the UK, right? Thanks for joining so late. We appreciate it.
Hey, it's okay. I've been following you for a long time, so it's about time I actually pulled my finger out and did something.
Oh, wonderful. I'm glad you're here. Lisa, did I answer your question, or do you have a follow-up or anything that you want to discuss?
It's absolutely perfect, thank you. I've been umming and ahhing because I've been stuck, because I've got lots and lots of contacts, loads and loads of acquaintances, but I haven't got a formal list. All this GDPR stuff's been scaring me, I don't mind admitting. So it's like,
Sure.
I don't want to get in trouble because of
Let's
that.
talk about GDPR, the big, the big monster under the bed. So yeah, we recently just updated a bunch of our stuff due to GDPR. Here's the thing. I have yet to meet a lawyer or anybody, or an expert who really understands all of it. That's thing one. Thing two is, if you are at a point where you're big enough and you have enough going on where they're actually going to come tag you for it, they're going to give you a warning before they do anything rash. You're going to be able to respond and have like time to actually fix what's going on before they're going to like try to fine you or anything. And they're really just trying to keep Google and Facebook from playing dirty pool at the end of the day. They're not looking for like little solo, entrepreneurs and people who make, a couple $100,000 a year. It's like chump change for them. They find Google $5 billion out of the gate. That's why they did those laws. Like, they're not nickel and diamond, small businesses over GDPR. So I just wouldn't stress about it too much.
That's absolutely brilliant. I've got this great big grin on my face because that has been a big thing that I've been worrying about.
Yeah. Now, if that's holding you back, some legality, like just do your best for now. Don't do anything that just, generally feels icky about marketing. Allow people to opt out if they don't want to opt out. If they call you and say, hey, take me out of your system, take them out of their system. Like, that's all you really got to do. That's the thing. That's the spirit of the law. And if you look on their website, there's actually some really interesting guidelines that are just simple. Most people don't Google it though. They just have this fear or whatever, like that GDPR is going to jump out and like kill all their progress and take all their money and shut their business down. It's just that's not the truth.
Thank you so much. And just on that then, you just mentioned Active Campaign. Do you find that to be the really strong male software?
I mean, they're all bad for different reasons. You got to find the one that's least bad in the way that you want it to be, if that makes sense. But yeah, if you guys are looking for specifically just because you're all VIP and you want the real dope on everything we use, I created this affiliate spreadsheet here. And I'll just, I can just kind of like show you some of the things we use and get you hooked up with discounts and deals. Hopefully, if not, at the very least, it'll be good. So let me grab that for you right now. So that's going to be, sorry, it's making me log in. All right, here we go. Sharing my screen. So here's all the stuff we use.
Oh, brilliant. That's absolutely just what I'm after, because it's like, there's so much out there. I've done so much Googling on comparisons, etc. I just want to choose the right one. So recommendation.
Let me just copy all these links for you into the chat here, and you can use it if you're interested, and if not, that's fine. All panelists and attendees.
Oh God, that's perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome. Copy. What's going on here? Why is it letting me do that? It's not letting me for some reason. Maybe I can make it. Anyway, I'll figure this out for you.
Hey, no problem. Look, Brad, thank you so much, and I really, really look forward to tomorrow. It's been absolutely brilliant. You've really given me the lift that I need to get this going, so thank you.
Sure. My pleasure. Absolutely. Paste the spreadsheet in. Okay, I can do that. My tech team is helping me on the back end here. See how nice it is when you have a team? And if anybody's interested in what we use for our stuff, just request access, and I'll have Micah give you access to that sheet as well. Or maybe I could just change it now. Hold on. Let me just do that. Change. This is going to be, anyone with the link can view. Done. All right, there's your link. There's all the links in there and what we use, and that's why. Okay, enjoy.
Thank you.
My pleasure. All right, next question. Do you feel good? You got what you need?
Oh, God, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, spot on, thank you. Look forward for the rest of the week.
My pleasure. Yeah, I'll see you tomorrow. All right.
Yeah.
Talk to Lisa. Bilal, how do you determine the value you charge for a subscription? Will the 5-day cover the logistics of running the mastermind, components, meeting, etc.? Let me answer this live for you, Bilal. Find you here. Hi, Bilal. Good to hear from you. How you doing? Can you hear me?
Well.
Hey,
Hi, Brad.
my pleasure. Thanks for jumping on so late. We appreciate it. Bilal's in Saudi Arabia, so it's quite late there. So your question is pricing. We're going to go over pricing a little bit, but just as a general kind of catch-all answer, I say no less than $500 or $1,000 to start. Somewhere in that range is like a great place to start. It gets you enough momentum. It makes you enough money. And we will cover the logistics of running the mastermind with some components of the meeting. Not everything I know, but a really solid hour on day 5 on that stuff.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah,
that's cool.
There's a lot of things you can do, but I'll give you some really solid frameworks as well. Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
Cool.
Did you have any follow-up questions for now?
No, I'm fine. I mean, I'm sure also in the larger program next year that we will do that I'll do with you. I'll get more details.
100%. My pleasure.
Okay, but that's
Right.
I'm fine for now. Thank you.
Thanks, Bilal. Appreciate you jumping on.
Cheers.
Cheers. Right. David, Angie, how do you advertise effectively and market? That is such a big question. There's only a couple hundred answers to that question. But we will do some marketing stuff on day 4. Let's have you jump on here, Angie, and just chat for a second. Hold on, find you, allowed to talk. Angie, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, how you doing?
Hi, good. So I already plan to do like a Zoom training on November 17th. So
Great.
optimize your wellness and finances. I'm a physical therapist by background and also a life insurance agent. So my target clients are pre-retirement years, 40-year-old and above. So to prepare them for their retirement years in physical health and also for their finances.
Killer. So you already got kind of a thing going here. You're going to launch it, and you're here to kind of get any little last pieces in place. Is that what I'm hearing?
So I'm changing it then, instead of a Zoom training, to make it a mastermind.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, that'd be great. And you could put some hot seats and some other components that we're going to learn about in the challenge. That'd be awesome.
Yes.
Did you have anything else you wanted to chat about right now, or have any other questions to follow up?
Yeah, so really I've been advertising through Facebook.
Sure.
So I should just send email to our past patient list, or what are
So it just depends. Like if this is a one-off beta, like you're just trying to get 5 or 10 people in the door, I just say go for phone calls. That's the best way, right? Just schedule phone calls or Zoom calls with people and have a chat with each of them just to start and get that rolling. And then when you start doing more, going from one-to-one marketing to one-to-many marketing, you want to start to utilize more of your social channels, more of your email channels. But really, it's just what's the minimum effective dose for what you're looking to accomplish. If you're trying to get 1,500 people into a challenge, we're going to do everything, right? We're going to email, we're going to text, we're going to send out messenger alerts, we're going to do ads and retargeting ads and all this stuff. That may be overkill for what you're trying to do. If you're just trying to get 10 people in a room, just make a list of 50 and start reaching out.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Brad.
My pleasure. Yeah. And we'll have, so when we get a little bit further in the challenge, we'll have some more marketing stuff. But additionally, we'll do, I'll tell you guys now, on Saturday, I'm going to do a bonus session on marketing and messaging. So that'll be really exciting. And we'll announce that probably on Wednesday for everybody.
Yes.
All right.
Thank you.
My pleasure. Absolutely. All right. Alejandro, my question is around the focus on a niche. I have different roles, entrepreneur, professor, etc., and I might have access to different networks. So I'm wondering if you recommend for me to focus just on one niche and the possibility of a quick win in different networks. Okay. So Alejandro, can you hear me, Alejandro?
Yes, I'm
Hey,
here, but
how you doing? Good. Thank you. So yeah, different niches. I don't recommend doing different niches to start. Focus on one niche, one network, one type of person. We're going to go through this like day 2, day 3, very in depth. Awesome. if you do too many things at once, it's like trying to boil the ocean. I just say focus, 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 and really think about it as like a one-off, right? You're going to test out one offer to one niche to one type of person one time and do it as a one-off mastermind. Because if you're trying to like, I'm going to start this year-long mastermind or multiple month mastermind, and there's all these different components, and I have to get people to like enroll into that. That's a much harder sell than, hey, I'm doing this mastermind one time. Let's try it out, right? And
Okay.
by doing that, I've had so many clients ask me this. And by doing that, you're giving yourself an out too. You're not stuck doing the same mastermind that maybe you don't love, or it's not perfect, or it's not the right people, or these are not the problems you want to solve for the long term if you don't love it. So I like doing one-offs. Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Okay, perfect.
You good to go?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Awesome. Thanks for being here. We got Blake. How to grow your network. I've been working in the shadows very quietly, trying to do everything myself for long enough. I need to learn the skill of growing a Facebook or LinkedIn. So let's get you on here, Blake, and let's chat about this. And then if you've already spoken and we're just go ahead and mute yourself. I'd appreciate it. So we don't get background noise. Thanks everybody else. Can you hear me?
Hey, how's it going, Brad? Can you
Hey
hear me?
brother, how you doing?
So good. How are you?
I'm doing really well. Thank you. It's good to see you.
Yeah, it's so good to see you as well.
All right. So we are talking about kind of building a network. So I would say from my experience, there's a lot of different ways you can do it. Building, masterminds and being a part of masterminds has been the biggest one. And then I would say that's at least half of it. And then the other half of it, if not more really, is just being consistent with content and sharing what's going on in my life in an authentic, vulnerable way where there's like leadership and like a lot of people use Facebook to argue. And they use Facebook to stir the pot, or they use Facebook to declare their opinions on things. I really try to share what's going on in my life in a story-driven format and be authentic and vulnerable as possible to give people like insight into what they're doing in their own life, or maybe they have gone through in their own life. And when you come from that perspective versus I'm just going to use Facebook to feed my ego or make people think I'm right or argue or whatever it is, like people start to gravitate towards you. They want to follow authentic, vulnerable leaders, right? And people who provide a lot of value. So regardless of the platform, if you're providing consistent, story-driven, actionable, takeawayable like content, it doesn't all have to be like every single day. It could be like little short things consistently on a regular basis. You're going to eventually have a really awesome network. And, my Facebook has now grown to 5,000 people, and I have 3,000 plus following me. And that was just a very consistent metered effort where I wasn't doing a whole lot at once, but I was doing a little bit consistently over time.
Got it. So that's like that's person, like, I guess the question kind of divides off for me because I'm doing this entirely from scratch. And so I'm thinking I could even like maybe not even use my personal Facebook or personal LinkedIn. Like, is it worth creating just a whole new profile, honestly, just for this mastermind, like almost a completely new person?
So that's one way you could do it. It's one way you could do it. Certainly. I can't know how from scratch you're talking about. The likelihood is that you probably have at least some people connected to that it would be not from scratch. But if that's really the case, you want to start from scratch, that's totally fine. You could create a whole public, version of what you're doing. But again, heed my warning, like people want to connect with people, not with brands. They want to connect with individuals that have a story, not just, a guru or somebody who's above them. They want to know you're real and you're sharing things that are actually going on.
Got it. That makes a lot of sense. Thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure. You good for now?
Yeah, I'm great.
Cool, brother. Thanks for being here. I'll catch you on the live tomorrow.
Thank you. Yeah, catch you later.
All right, Blake. All right, Lisa, I got through all the questions, looks like. Let me just look at the comments real quick, make sure I didn't miss anything from the last few. Wouldn't a membership site work just as well? Yes, and this is a great question. We used to have one. It just wasn't, the juice wasn't worth the squeeze. Too many people were like, oh, I'd rather just use Facebook. And even though some people hate Facebook and it's just not what they want to do. Hold on a second. I'm just gonna mute Blake. Hey, Blake, would you mind muting yourself there, bud? If that's you. Somebody's got a little bit of rustling going on in the background. Hopefully I can. There we go. That was W. Got it. Okay. Yeah, when you create more technical complexity, then there's going to be a problem. So depending on where you spend most of your time and where you're attracting the most people from, in your mastermind or in your marketing efforts, I would tend to use those platforms. So like if I were to build all my network on LinkedIn and build a bunch of LinkedIn groups, I would use those LinkedIn groups. I presume they work similar to Facebook groups. I haven't really done one myself, for those people, because they're the most comfortable with that platform. So you use the platform where you find most of these people, you connect with most of these people, and they're most comfortable, and then augment and supplement it with Zoom rooms, email drops, Facebook groups, whatever you're going to do, secondary to the primary reason that they came in touch with you in the first place. You know, what you want to meet people where they're already coming from, and whatever tool or technology they're already used to is the one that they'll probably have the most adoption from. If you add a whole new membership platform on top of that, unless it's like a really simple passive login anytime you want to get your videos kind of thing, that's going to be more challenging. You'll have to train people on that, and it'll create more customer service hassle. So I don't necessarily recommend that, although it's certainly possible to do it on whatever you want. Like we had a mastermind forum on Discourse, I think, for 2 years, and that worked out fine. But it was really because Google Groups was no longer working the way we wanted it to, and that's where we started. And I love Google Groups because I could just email and reply to the thread, but I wasn't able to do that afterwards. So, you know, just depending on where you're at, and that was years ago. So, you know, I've obviously evolved since then, and where people are coming from, I would select based on that, and then have multiple ways that they can, you know, access from there and be notified from there. All right. Barry, let's get Barry on. Hey, Barry, can you hear me?
Hello.
Hi, Barry. How are you, sir?
Good.
Good to hear from you.
Pardon me?
Good to hear from you again.
Yeah, you too. Thank you. I asked the question, but I think you're going to be doing it later in the week, just about the structure of the mastermind.
Yeah, that's day 5 is like how to actually run the thing. Yeah, that's all on day 5.
That was just my
pleasure, brother.
Thank you.
No, hey, it's great to have you. I'm glad that you're here, and looking forward to more content with you.
Please go. Thank you.
All right. Christy Morgan, is this a good space to use micro influencers? I presume your question, let me have you jump on here and we can clarify it. Christy, can you hear me? Hello?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. How are you?
Okay, I had you on Alexa, so I wasn't for sure if it was going to make different noises. I'm asking for a space that at one time I am in a lot of influencer groups.
Sure.
I just had to take part of social media for a while. And I know people who that like I want to settle around mental health and wellness type of thing.
Hey, Christy, I hate to cut you off, but do you have a better microphone set up, or could you get closer to the microphone?
I do, but I don't have it hooked up.
Okay. Understood. Yeah, I'll do my best. What I saw you wrote was micro influencers. I just want to be clear. Yes, you can use a micro influencer. Yes, you could use networks of micro influencers. You can bring in as many experts as you want. That makes sense. I would just try to go for the one that's like the baddest ass one first, so that it's a lot easier to get other experts to sign on and then clients as well. Yeah.
Okay.
I would aim for the top one. You know, like there's an old saying, like, you know, go for the one you actually want, not the one that's like, you know, you hope will say yes.
Okay.
All right.
Cool. Thanks.
My pleasure. All right. So it looks like we're good to go. People are going to pick up their kids from school. We'll keep this nice and tight. I didn't see any other questions come through. Oh wait, we got one more here. Personal development, that's part of it. How would you say people connect more with people? So yeah, so Alejandro, that's a great question. We can have you jump back on if you want, but the difference here is like there needs to be an individual character, like an attractive character that they can relate to or that they can connect with. You could certainly advertise as a brand, but when you're doing something as intimate as a mastermind and you're looking to optimize for that, you're going to have more success overall with being that attractive character, even if it's not you personally, or even if it's not, you know, you sharing stories from your own life always, but like real stories about real people with real vulnerable and authentic shares drive way more engagement and ultimately connect you better with these folks. You know, they got to know, like, and trust you if they're going to buy from you and join your mastermind. So that drives that faster than any kind of branding or, you know, brand facing marketing.
All right, awesome. Thank you. Thank you, Brett.
My pleasure. In terms of topics for the mastermind, do we cover that during this week? Yes, it's going to be specific to what mastermind niche and what offer. But yeah, the topics are very, very much individualized and very clearly laid out. I think day 3, day 4-ish. We'll get really clear on that. Day 2, day 3, day 4. Awesome. All right. Any last minute questions, qualms, queries? Thank you all for joining. This went better than I could have anticipated. I'm really grateful that everybody's here and rocking and getting value. And I'm just thrilled to serve you guys all week. So I'll see you tomorrow, same time, same place, 11 o'clock PST on the live, and then for the Q&A afterwards. And if you guys have any trouble or need anything, just hit us up in the Facebook group or on support. Actually, email support so that we can take it one by one, because the comments could get lost on the Facebook group. All right. I'll talk to you guys soon. Have a beautiful rest of your day. I'll talk to you tomorrow.